Circle K, and I go in the bathroom. Now, I gotta hide this stuff somewhere because clearly I'm being followed, right? I mean, I don't know where to put it. I can't put it in the truck. I'm driving without a license anyways, right? So I decide to sit down on the toilet. I had an ounce of cocaine, by the way, a whole ounce. It was about this big. You guys ever eat a cutie before? It was about the size of a cutie. You'll never eat one again after you hear this story, I promise, okay? Now, I had this in a Ziploc bag, which you would think might hurt after I tell you what happened, but I tore the zipper off. I'm not an idiot, I was just a drug addict, right? Okay, and I squat down over this toilet and I decide, in carrot form, from the pointy end, that I better put this in here, okay? And I do that, and it took about 25 minutes, and before I could even get it in, I realized I needed some more cocaine out of the bag, so I had to pull it back out. At that point, it did get a little bit weird because, we know. Some of you know. I don't know. Okay. So, anyways, in like form, after about 20 minutes in this bathroom, and I'm sure they thought I was doing all types of shit, way worse than I was doing, right? Okay. I get this thing in there, and then I find myself practicing Kegels for the first time in my life, okay? Because I don't know if it's gonna fall out, and I'm quite sure that Jeep behind me's been behind me for hours. I mean, this is Colorado, there is a lot of red Jeeps, but I'm just saying the guy looks semi-familiar around every corner, okay? Moving through the day, it gets a little bit late at night and I get a little too paranoid and I find myself inside of a car wash that's closed, right? And I've been here for like 45 minutes and I decide, man, I need more of this crack, right? I have to have more. Okay, so I don't know what to do, but I'm like, nobody can see to the left or the right, and nobody's about to pull in here, so I get out and I squat down, right? And I'm like, I can do this. I mean, I've been taking a dump my whole life, at least once a day, I hope. Healthy's twice. I'm not very healthy though. And I pop this thing back out, okay? And it sounds a little bit gross, but any of you that have been in addiction do know that we will go to any lengths to get high. And when I say any lengths, I mean completely any lengths. So I untie this, I continue to do what I do. I get out a small amount because I'm still too paranoid to drive with this cutie, okay? I'm still too paranoid to have this orange with me. I love citrus, but I don't eat cuties at all anymore. At freaking all. As time goes on, I realized that I should probably get home, and I lived way in Thornton at the time. I lived in Thornton, Colorado, and I'm covered in shame, amongst a few other things. I mean, there's some stuff that's coming out, and it didn't come from inside the bag, I promise you that. Now, my father, who passed away, he died when I was 14 years old, but he used to tell me something all the time, because a lot of people think that I know it all, right? They think that I think I know it all, which it really comes from a core belief that I have, that I don't talk about anything that I don't know. That way I know everything I'm talking about, right? I don't want to sound like a fool, but my father used to tell me all the time, he used to say, boy, you don't know shit from apple butter. That's why your sandwiches stink, okay? Now, I never understood what that meant until about the third time I had to get this thing out. And I am gonna tell you, prior to this, I had zero experience, but I am gonna tell you, after the third time, that thing comes right out, okay? It just pops right out. So I get back to my house, and I lived in a mobile home at the time, right? Fresh in recovery. Now I have 16 days today. Thank you. And my roommate, anytime I used to get high, I used to tell him I was out drinking or I was at a girl's house. Well, there was two things I wasn't worried about when I was getting high. The first one was alcohol, the second one was pussy, period. You could be asshole naked in front of me and be whatever famous celebrity you want to be. I was just gripping the pipe and I was thinking about the rest of the night. That's all I was on, okay? And this is facts. I mean, we know these things are true. This is how our mind works. That's all we're focused on. But I always noticed that on these nights that I went drinking or hooking up with some chick, that I never did, right? I always noticed that he would have some reason to like lean in and like smell me. And I'm thinking, can he smell this crack on me? I don't know, right? I mean, he is homosexual. Maybe he just liked the smell of my shampoo. I don't know. But to me, in my paranoid state of mind, I was thinking that he knew what was going on. So my roommate, he's real high tech. I don't know anything about technology. That's why somebody's running my phone I paid way too much money for right now. But he's real high tech. He's got like a smoker grill. He smokes pork shoulders. He goes to work. He works in a dispensary, and he's at work, and he can check the temperature. He knows when I opened the grill and stole a piece of meat because the temperature goes down. He texts me and stuff, you know. And then he also has like the heat and the AC hooked up, right? The heat and the AC is hooked up to his phone. So he's at work. And I'm so not tech savvy that I actually don't know how to turn the heat or the AC on when I'm in the house. So when I'm hot, or when I'm cold, I say, hey man, bump that AC, my friend. You know, I shoot him a text. I know how to text now. I'm not stupid. So I say, bump that AC, man. Well, anyways, this particular night, right, I'm already filled with shame and apple butter and all types of shit. Yeah. So I'm just filled up with all types of fear and paranoia, and I'm at home. Now, I typically didn't get high in my house unless it was during his work hours because I was afraid to get caught. And I mean, I've seen Tent City. I mean, it doesn't look like a space or a place for me, okay? No offense. I mean, I'll say hi to the folks and throw them 50 cents or whatever, but that's about it, right? Ask them if they like cuties. I got a bag in the car. They said anything helps, okay? That's what I got, okay? But anyways, I go into the bathroom and in like manner, I have all of my utensils and I'm paranoid and all of this stuff's going on and I hear the heat bump on and I have convinced myself. I mean, and this still actually may be true. I mean, there's no evidence to the contrary. However, I've convinced myself that he bumped this heat on so he can tiptoe through the house, right? All the way down the way, past Biscuit the dog, and come to the bathroom so he can smell what I'm cooking. And I'm freaking out, okay? So I go back into the room, right? And I'm in my bedroom, and I now have my products and supplies that I need, right? And of course, I keep pinching the bag because I keep convincing myself I'm not gonna need any more, but the more I pinch the bag a little bit, the more humiliating it is the next time I have to, you know. And of course, I keep like a little bit of the baggie there so I can get it out. Like, I don't wanna get caught and go to jail, but if I go to jail, I wanna catch the bag and get the rest of it. I mean, this shit was expensive. COVID didn't just raise prices on lumber, believe that. So I find myself in the bedroom, you know, and I've convinced myself there's like a gap underneath the door like this. It's a mobile home. It's like some aftermarket door or some shit. And I'm on the ground like this next to my barber chair, right? And I'm trying to see from one end of the trailer to the other. And the fucking AC pops back on. Son of a bitch. And I've convinced myself that that door cracked open or that he's like slipping into the laundry room out the back door, climbing into a window, okay, in the room next to my bathroom going, but I don't give a shit because I'm out again, right? And I also decide, if you're gonna catch me, motherfucker, you're gonna catch me in the act. I got apple butter all over the white carpet. And I don't know the difference between shit and apple butter, so I've snuck out in my paranoia, eyes like this, and tried to get the loaf of bread, 9 grain, of course, right? It was on sale at King Soopers. So I can make sandwiches after I run out of the drugs, you know. Shit. Golly. They weren't very good. They weren't. As this continues to go on throughout the night, I mean, I've come up with all these ideas, and these weren't even my drugs, actually. Somebody wanted me to get these drugs for them, and in my addicted mind, I thought I could get these drugs and make some money and do whatever I do. And it turned out that immediately, like the second the guy handed it to me, I mean, I was like, well, I could take a little bit of this, right? I mean, I didn't know I was finna have to take the whole thing. This continues to go on for hours and hours, and in desperation, I decide something has to change. I need help. This is fucking humiliating. I got a fucking cutie in my ass, okay? I turned on porn to make him think I brought a girl home so he didn't knock on my door, right? But it was like orgy sex, and he knew. He'd have heard all them fucking footsteps because the AC was off when we came in, right? And I'm laying there on the floor, man, and I'm just like, fucking. I swear to God, this went on for a long time, this part, right? But the feedback was killing me here. And I'm like, man, is that door open? Was that the blinds in that other room? That was the blinds in the other room. I knew this motherfucker, this fat motherfucker can climb into this house, and he told me he couldn't help check the roof when it was broke. That's just fucked up. Fucking liar, piece of shit. Let me in his fucking house and lie to me, right? Pardon me on the F-bombs. I was asked not to do that, but I was like, in light of the story I'm telling, I think that's the least of our worries here. By the last time I decided to dip in this bag because I wasn't gonna tell on myself or stop before I dipped in one more time, you know, and I'm on the ground like this. And I just reached around through my sweatpants and just said, bloop, cutie. Well, I decided at some point I need to get this to the person and get this out of my life, and I need some sort of recovery, and I need some fucking help with my butthole healing. I mean, I'm good on everything else, but that thing was wow for a long time. At least 5 or 6 days. I mean, I was at least 3 days clean before it started like, no more apple butter, no more apple butter. But I opened it up for the last time to get it out, and I noticed all this nasty booty juice on top. And I'm thinking, this is a shitty situation. And then I'm like, how the hell am I gonna get the smell out of this? And I'm like, I know. Baking soda takes smell out, right? So I just start scooping it in, right? And I'm like, even if I want to use some, it's already got all the products I need, products and services, right? But no, seriously, what happened that day, that was the last day that I used cocaine. That was the last day that I used crack cocaine. I texted my roommate, it became like 7:30 in the morning. The paranoia was through the roof. I couldn't lay on the ground anymore. There was no way that thing was gonna stay in there if I put it back one more time anyways. So I decided to rebag it, baking soda it, and go tell on myself, and I did. I went and I woke my roommate up, and I told him what happened. I mean, the whole story, he's gay, so it wasn't like a surprise to him. And plus, I told you I needed help figuring out how to heal this thing. Who would know better, right? Who would know better, right? I love that guy, though. I love that guy because that guy looked at me and he started crying. Well, first, actually, he said, "You were smoking crack in my house." And I said, "That's like the least of our worries, my man. The Kegels ain't helping no more, bruh. And I don't even have a scale to figure out if this is right for these people." I'm not even thinking about the booty juice and the apple butter anymore. So I hand it to him, man. I put it inside of a brownie box and I Gorilla Glued that bitch back shut, right? Oh, for real, because I just wanted extra fragrances and stuff that I could accuse of maybe seeping in for that brown, color that was in there. But I tell him and he starts crying and he was very upset, but he's an emotional guy by nature. That's just how he is. And he looks at me and he says to me, "Why don't you go to NA?" That means Narcotics Anonymous. If you guys don't know what it is, I love Narcotics Anonymous. He said, "Why don't you go to NA?" And I said, I had never told him I had been clean before. I told him about being dirty that day, but I never told him I'd been clean before. To all outward appearances, my life was in order. I have a nice vehicle. I paid my rent on time. My bills were paid. I have semi-nice clothes. Most of them I borrowed from people and never returned, but they're nice as fuck. I hope whoever's live streaming did not tag like the guy that I got the shirt from, man. For real, he's pissed. But seriously, he said, "Why don't you go to NA?" And I said, "What in the world would make you say that to me?" And he said, just so matter-of-factly, right? He said, well, every day you drink coffee out of a cup with a big-ass picture of Iowa and Illinois and it says NA on it. I never mentioned it to you because shit, we was getting high, man. You know, I wasn't trying to mess up my smoking partner. He said, I'll even go with you. So I was determined that day that I wasn't going to pick up cocaine anymore. And 2 more days goes by and he doesn't make these meetings with me. He doesn't offer, he doesn't attempt to, because that's not his prerogative to be clean, to get clean. That's not what he's about. That's not even why we're friends. We didn't become friends on that pretense. When I moved to Colorado, he said, meet me at Cheeseman's Park, and I'm gonna make sure you sleep for your first 3 weeks here. And I did, and I did, and I did. I never ate a gummy bear that did that before or after, believe that. I fell for that shit once. And it was orange, just like a cutie. I'm just saying, the beginning and the end of this thing, right? That man told me to go to NA, and after 2 days, he didn't do that, and I was looking down at the table, and I was looking at all the products, because he works at a dispensary, and there's a lot of them there. I mean, even people that are like Colorado natives are like, this is some next level ass shit right here. And I'm like, he's trying to like overcome the pain. He got a med card because his Kegels ain't working no more either. Just saying. I mean, that's rumor has it. I don't know personally, right? We ain't that close, right? But seriously, man, that man said, why don't you go to NA? And it fucked me up because I had thrown away all my books and all my literature and put all that behind me. I forgot that I had a disease. I used to sponsor people. I used to stay clean. I used to do service work, and I loved it. Every single moment of it. I ate, slept, and breathed Narcotics Anonymous, but I never told him about it because why? When I'm smoking weed and getting high on cocaine, I'm not talking about recovery, and when I'm in recovery, we probably shouldn't be talking like I'm talking right now, right? But, you know, my sponsor actually told me not to tell this story, to be honest. He said, it's not funny at all, man. Actually, he said, it's not funny at all, man. And for those of you that know my sponsor, that would have been hilarious. But the thing about my sponsor is he actually is at work right now, so fuck him, right? I had nothing else. But I came to Narcotics Anonymous and I got clean. And 3 days after getting clean, one of my life's dreams came true. I always wanted to try stand-up comedy. And the man that sits in that DJ booth, the man that's putting this on, looked at me outside. I told one little bitch-ass joke. It wasn't even funny to me. And he looked at me and he said, I'm calling you out. You have a 10-minute stand-up skit next week. And I said, I'm gonna need 45 minimum. 45 minimum, $100, not minutes. Not minutes, not minutes. They don't have enough water for that. Well, anyways, I truly do appreciate everyone that's in this room, and I know that that story may have been a trigger for some people, or it may have, taken people there, but the story was really about hope. That even in the midst of my darkest, most shameful moment of my entire life, my brokest, I've had more money in prison after being there 4 years straight than I had that day, right? Somebody said to me, why don't you go to Narcotics Anonymous? And it has not been easy. It's been 16 days. It's been 18 since that event, 16 days completely. I don't count days, I count 420s. When it hits 420, instead of doing a Snapchat of me driving through Denver or through the Rhino Art District, I do a Snapchat and I say, I made it through another 420, right? $420 with the dope man is what I'm talking about, okay? Every day the last 16 days. Can I get paid for this skit? That's all I'm saying. Seriously. And anyways, I'm grateful. I'm truly grateful. I have a sponsor. I have new literature. I have new friends. I had one friend in Colorado. I also knew the bartender while I was waiting on some random Mexican biker to show up that was gonna pat me down because he thought I was the police, and I knew a guy in Commerce City. That was it. We know why I knew a guy in Commerce City. We don't have to go there. Where do you think the cuties came from? Duh. Right? Okay. But with that being said, I'm so grateful for this opportunity. I truly am. I'm truly blessed. Did I want this to be public on the internet and everyone to hear that? Absolutely not. But I knew for a fact that if I wasn't able to stand in front of every person in here, people I consider my friends, people that I love, people that didn't make it, tag every person on my Facebook, no matter who they were, if I wasn't open and honest with the entire world about how fucked up I got, and how Narcotics Anonymous changed that, in just a few days. And I struggle, I cry, I feel less than. I get fucking abused and lied to. I've been cheated on. I've done 10 years in prison. I've had a lot of hardships in my life. And I will say to anyone, every time, the best place that I've ever came in my life and made the most real friends was Narcotics Anonymous. And I'm grateful to be able to be here, and that's all I got. And whoever booed me, I'm beating their ass afterwards. I'm still in the first 90 days, I'm allowed.
Not sure where Irish went to, but hey, I'll just step in now. So my name's Chris Heil. You might have seen this ugly mug on a flyer that Sean put out. I've been here in Colorado for about 20 years now. I actually grew up in Nebraska, hence 6'5". So, yeah, exactly. Anybody else from Nebraska? Fremont, I know Fremont. I'm from South Sioux, so Grand Island, there we go. Grand Island. I still don't understand why they call that the Triangle. Every single city is like an hour away from one another. It's the weirdest thing ever, but that's Nebraska, so. Believe it or not, I moved out here in 2000, met a girl, had 4 kids, still have 4 kids, and that's kind of what I want to start and talk about today. Anybody in here have kids? Awesome, congratulations. Kids say the darndest things, if you will. My favorite, let me just ask this to you all. If you were invisible for a day, what would you do? I love that response right off the bat. She already had something in mind. Go ahead, share with everybody. No. Anybody? No. It's a secret, okay. I usually get, rob a bank, go into the girls' locker room, all sorts of different things. My favorite to this day came from I think he was 13 years old at the time. He looks at me, ponders for a minute. If I was invisible for a day, I'd go beat up a mime. And I was just flabbergasted. I mean, think about that for a second. You're in Paris, you're walking down the road with your sweetheart, whatnot, right? And you see this mime, he's doing his things, he's in the box, right? And then suddenly just absolutely starts getting the crap kicked out of him, and you're sitting there going, oh man, he's like the greatest mime in the world. And he's sitting there screaming for help. Still my favorite response to that question. This is the kid that thinks outside of the box, but he looks at things so different in this world. Like, I don't know what he got hung up on one day. He was like, where did the term holy cow come from? I have no idea. I still haven't looked it up. Does anybody? India? Holy cow? Possibly. So he asked me, where's holy cow come from? I'm like, I don't know. A couple days later, where's the term holy cow come from? I don't know. Google it. I don't care. I'm not looking it up. At this point, it's a matter of principle. I refuse to Google it and find out the etymology and actually see where it came from. So after 2 weeks of this consistent every single day, I'm like, that's it, I'm done. By Friday, when I get home from work, I want a 4-page paper on holy cow. His face, what? No. I want a 4-page paper on holy cow. He's like, okay. I get home, 5 o'clock on Friday, walk in. It's like, you got your 4-page paper on holy cow? Big old shit-eating grin on his face like you've never seen. He's like, yup. I'm like, all right, let me see it. He brings me 1 piece of paper. And on it is sitting there with a cow, with a halo, and some wings, and 4 pages of paper on it. 4-page paper on holy cow. So needless to say, this is the kid that anytime I give instructions to, I have to ask him, are there any loopholes at all that I have not covered? I tried doing the whole 4-page paper thing again, and when he asked another thing, I can't remember what it was, and of course he resized the paper to where it was like this, so each page had 1 letter on it. So, but my favorite saying, or not my favorite saying, but my favorite instance was when my oldest, who's graduating on the 8th, was a toddler. I hate to say it, but toddlers are like drunk girls. Once they get something in their head, you cannot shake it. I mean, really. And I don't know who the genius was at Playtex that decided to make tampons about that big and in brightly colored paper. What does that look like to a toddler? Candy. Oh, you guys all see where this is going. So my wife was on her delightful few days she had. She went to her purse, grabbed her utensils, started going to the bathroom, right? And of course, when you pull a little brightly colored piece of paper out of your purse, instantly, candy, 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 candy. No, go away, candy. No, go away. She slams the door in his face. You would think that would be the end of it. Oh no, that doesn't stop a toddler. He walks in at the magic moment, and I can only imagine the befuddlement on his face. Because the words that came out of his mouth were just priceless. Candy for your butt? Needless to say, Halloween was really interesting that year. We still don't allow blow pops at the house. But thank God for those little sticks, I'm telling you. Well, one other thing about kids you'll notice is that they get hung up on certain things and they have to see certain things over and over and over again. And as a parent, you have to try and, suffer through Dora the Explorer as much as you can. I'm telling you, she's a liar. You can't get everywhere in just 3 steps. But there were certain shows and certain movies that I had to sit through over and over and over and over again. Again, 4 kids, so it was brand new to the younger ones, and the older one was off playing and doing something different. But Sesame Street is one of those things that, it was great when I was a kid. But come on, as an adult, you don't want to sit through Sesame Street. So you try to think of ways to make it interesting for yourself. So I turned it into Crack Street in my own head. No, really, think about it. You had the purple monsters that were the guys that answered the phone at the drug house. Bing! Oh, cocaine. Yep. Uh-huh. Marijuana. Yep. Uh-huh. And then you had the count. His job was just counting the money. And Oscar the Grouch was just the guy that, on the corner, but... Then you had, Forrest Gump they got stuck on. That was another movie that Forrest Gump, it's a great movie, but I've seen it way too many times. So I started thinking about, well, what if Forrest Gump was made today? A lot of key lines would change, right? Forrest would be sitting there, Mama always said life was like a sexually transmitted disease. You never know which one you're gonna get. I may not be a smart man, but I know what syphilis is. Ouch, does it burn. I looked down and it was like Superman's pallets growing out of my penis. And of course, instead of being shot in the butt in Vietnam, it'd be like the don't ask, don't tell policy, and he got shot in the butt. And then instead of instead of meeting Elvis Presley, he'd meet Michael Jackson, right? And the next day after meeting Forrest, Michael Jackson would be up on stage grabbing his crotch, just, ow, right? Of course, if they did make a movie like that, it wouldn't be called Forrest Gump. It'd be called Macaulay Culkin. Sorry, Macaulay. So I worked at a place where there were 3 types of people. There were the ones that spoke Spanish, the ones that have no clue what Spanish is, and the ones that full on recognize that they don't speak Spanish, right? So Spanish is a beautiful language. Are there any Spanish speakers here? There we go, 1. Welcome. You can't give anything away through this, okay? I am by no means fluent in Spanish. I just know enough to get myself into trouble. So, but no, Spanish is one of the Romance languages. It's a beautiful language, it really is. But there's certain words and phrases in Spanish that I never really understood. Like the phrase, oh mi gato. Oh mi gato, it's like, oh my God. But literally translated, it's oh my cat. Did that make sense to anybody, ever? Yeah. I started thinking about it one day. I was like, we got a lot of different words for cat. Kitten, kitty cat, pussy. Oh, my pussy. Okay, I can get into that. I understand that now. But there's other words and phrases like gordito, okay? Comes from the root word gordo, which means to be fat. Ito or ita at the end of a word, it's, little. So in this case, a little fat girl, gordita. They sell little fat girls at Taco Bell for $1.89. But I started thinking about it, where did that come from, right? It actually comes from the type of bread that's made to use that item. And I just picture a little Mexican baker. Ah, está mi pan, está mi gordita, yeah! Ever wonder why it tastes salty? Bet you won't be putting that in your mouth anytime soon. But no, I love picking on people when they're going to Mexico. I pick on all my friends, and they know better now than to come and ask me for advice. My buddy's like, okay, I'm going to Mexico. I want to meet a really hot chick from Mexico. What's the best pickup line? And I just sat there and I smiled for a minute and started thinking, and I just was really mean to him, and I was like, okay, when you're there, have a few drinks, and then at some point through the evening, look into her eyes and just say, me quema cuando meo y yo pienso que es tu culpa. Sounds really good, right? Yeah, literally translated, that means it burns when I pee and I think it's your fault. Spanish is the exact opposite of German. German, everything sounds angry. Was ist der Seite? What time is it? Ich liebe dich. I love you. But now, the people that don't speak any Spanish, that was always a fun group, but that's where I throw the FCC. Now, think about it. I don't care how talented of an artist you are. You can't go on national radio and say, you've got a tremendous ass. You can't, right? Unless you say it in Spanish. Don't believe me? Ask Pitbull. Tienes tremendo culo. That's what he's saying. And then you have the group that really thinks they know Spanish and have no clue what Spanish is. They say the fun things like puntos. Puntos. I think they were trying to say puto, which means bitch. But punto means point, so puntos is points. And that's not at all what they were trying to say, but I was thinking about it. I was like, puntos. To me, that sounds like an old twat freshener commercial. Pop yourself a puntos. Picture the ad campaign on that. Remember the old Mentos commercials? Yeah. The chick steps out of the VW Bug. The construction guy drops dead. Somebody walks by, pops her a puntos. From the makers of douchey fruit, puntos. So. Hey, look, Sean's back. Hey! No, I've been doing comedy for about 3 months now, so bear with me as we're going through this. One of the things that got started with me, I was working at Dave & Buster's. Anybody know Dave & Buster's off I-25 in Colorado? I worked there for about 10 years and ran that place, and in that time, I ended up kicking about 5 different couples out of the building for having sex somewhere in the building. So it's funny when people are playing games and like, I know what was on that game. I had to clean that up. Yeah, not fun. But I was up on stage just messing around, and we had DPD officers in as security. And we had one black DPD officer, Walt, who's absolutely awesome, but I was up on stage. And I just started in, nobody else was in the room. I thought I was all alone. And I just started off, and I was like, I like my women how I like my coffee. Right at that time, here comes Walt walking out the back door. And if anybody's heard the end of that, you kind of see why Walt was chuckling there for a second. I'm like, not what you're thinking. I said, I like my women how I like my coffee. Yeah, I said it. I like blonde, slutty coffee with low self-esteem. What? There's nothing wrong with that. At least I didn't say ground up and in my freezer. Come on. So. Sorry, struggling there for a minute. So, whenever you're stalling like this, you try to come up with a joke off the top of your head, and it never works, let me tell you. So, I want to ask you guys, when you were planning on coming out to this, what expectations did you have? Was this just kind of, comedy night, let's go see what this guy's all about? Pretty much. And I'm struggling right now. Sean, you want to do a raffle while I compose myself a minute? Thank you. He told me I had an hour. I'm like, what? An hour? Okay. What are we raffling right now? Oh, their choice. Sony earbuds. What else? Burberry cologne? Yeah, not blueberry cologne. Blueberry. There you go. And what? Anastasia makeup. That's my favorite. All right, so we got 892434. 892434. Anybody? You must be present to win? 892434. And she's calling him. You already gave me one. Oh, he lost it. Either way, there's two other items at least. So, 892415. 892415. Yay! There we go. I'm gonna grab my water real quick. All right, last one. That works for me. 892384. 2384. Next. 892428. 892428. Bueller. Bueller. I'm about to just. Has to be a chick. 892421. Anybody? 892421. There you go. She won. Woohoo! Yes, I believe so. Excellent. Smoke break? Everybody want a break? Excellent. Let's do that.
trying to do, somebody go. Just let the music come from my soul, so all of my people can stay on the floor. They got a brand new dance, you gotta move your muscle. Brand new dance, it's called a Cupid Shuffle. It don't matter if you're young or you're old. Here we go, we gon' show you how to go. To the right, to the right, to the right, to the right, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. Now kick, now kick, now kick, now kick. Now walk it by yourself. Now walk it by yourself. Let me see you do the on the track, got another here we go. Hey,
God, Becky, look at her butt. It is so big. She looks like one of those rap guys' girlfriends who understands it's so big. They only talk to her because she looks like a total prostitute, okay? I mean, her butt, it's just so big. I can't believe it's so round. It's like out there. I mean, it's gross. Look. She's just so round. Wow.
I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny. Now when a girl walks in with an itty bitty waist and a round thing in your face, you get sprung. Wanna pull up tough cause you notice that butt was stuck deep in the jeans she's wearing. I'm hooked and I can't stop staring. Oh baby, I wanna get whipped out and take your picture. My homeboys tried to warn me, but that butt you got makes ooh, rumpa smooth skin. You say you wanna get my bins? Well, use me, cause you ain't that average groupie. I seen her dancing, to hell with romance, and she's sweat, wet, got it going like a turbo vet. I'm tired of magazines, saying flat butts all the thing. Take the average black man and ask him black. She gotta pack much back, so fellas, does your girlfriend got your butt? Hell Baby got back. Baby got back. I like them round and big. And when I'm throwing a gig, I just can't help myself. I'm acting like an animal. Now here's my scandal. I wanna get you home and double up. I ain't talking about Playboy. The silicone parts are made for toys. I want them real thick and juicy. So find that juicy double. Mix a lot's in trouble, begging for a piece of that bubble. So I'm looking at rock videos. Not me bimbos walking like hoes. You can have them bimbos. I'll keep my women like Flojo. A word to the thick soul sisters, I wanna get with ya. I won't cuss or hit ya, but I gotta be straight when I say I wanna. Till the breaks of dawn, baby got it going on. A lot of simps won't like this song, cause them punks like to hit and quit it. And I'd rather stay and play, cause I'm long and I'm strong and I'm down to get the friction on. So ladies, if you wanna roll my Mercedes, turn around, stick it out. Even white boys got to shout. Baby got back. Baby got back.
Yeah, baby. When it comes to females, Cosmo ain't got nothing to do with my selection. 36, 24, 36. Only if she's 5'3".
So your girlfriend rolls a Honda, playing workout tapes by Fonda. But Fonda ain't got a motor in the back of her Honda. My Anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, hun. You can do side bends or sit-ups, but please don't lose that butt. Some brothers wanna play that hard role and tell you that the butt ain't gold, so they toss it and leave it, and I pull up quick to retrieve it. So Cosmo says you're fat, well I ain't down with that, cause your waist is small and your curves are kicking, and I'm thinking about sticking to the beanpole dames in the magazines. You ain't it, miss thing. Give me a sister, I can't resist her. Red beans and rice didn't miss her. Some knucklehead tried to diss, cause there's girls are on my list. He had game, but he chose to hit him, and I pull up quick to get with him. So ladies, if the butt is round and you want a triple X throwdown, dial 1-900-MIX-A-LOT and kick them nasty thoughts. Baby got back. Baby got back. Middle in the middle, but you got my back. Middle in the middle, but you got my back. Middle in the middle, but you got my back. Middle in the middle, but you got my back. Middle in the middle, but you got my back.
that white gold. This one for them hood girls, them good girls, straight masterpieces. Stylin', wildin', living it up in the city. Got Chuck's on with Saint Laurent. Gotta kiss myself, I'm so pretty. I'm too hot. Call the police and the fireman. I'm too hot. Make a dragon wanna retire, man. I'm too hot. Say my name, you know who I am. I'm too hot. And my band bought that money. Break it down. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Girls hit you, hallelujah. 'Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. 'Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. 'Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Saturday night and we in the spot. Don't believe me, just watch. 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 Hey, 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 oh! Don't believe me, just watch. Wait a minute. Fill my cup, put some nigga in it. Take a sip, sign the check. Julio, get the scratch. Right to Harlem, Hollywood, Jackson, Mississippi. If we show up, we gon' show out. Smoother than a fresh drop skipping. I'm too hot. Call the police and the fireman. I'm too hot. Make a dragon wanna retire, man. I'm too hot. Bitch, say my name, you know who I am. I'm too hot. And my band bought that money. Break it down. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Girls hit you, hallelujah. 'Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. 'Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. 'Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Saturday night and we in the spot. Don't believe me, just watch. 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 Hey, 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 oh! Don't believe me, just watch. Don't believe me, just watch. Hey, hey, oh! Let me tell y'all a little something. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. I said uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Come on, dance, jump on it. If you succeed and flown it. If you freak dead and own it. Don't brag about it, come show me. Come on, dance, jump on it. If you succeed and flown it. Well, it's Saturday night and we in the spot. Don't believe it, just watch. Come on. Don't believe me, just watch. 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 Hey, 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 oh! Conversation got heavy. She had me feeling like she's ready to blow. Watch out! She's saying, "Come get me." pretty. That just ain't me. Hey, I know. Take that chance, she swears it's gonna lead to what I do. The way she dances, shawty alright with the way she I'm like, yeah, just work that out for me. She asked for one more dance, and I'm like, yeah, how the hell am I supposed to leave? And I said, yeah.
All right. Who's winning back there? There we go. Saw a couple hands up. First off, if I could get everybody to put their hands together for Evan. I mean, number one, being in recovery. Number two, sharing his story. That takes a lot of guts to be able to just come up here and spit some truth, first and foremost. So, what's that? Eli, sorry. Thanks, Sean. So, a few little tidbits more for you all. Want to talk a little bit about the difference between men and women. And I want to talk biology. I think we all know the differences there. I want to talk about mentality, if you will. So, if you go online and you just Google the differences between how men and women think, there's tons of different videos, but my favorite one is the illustration of the filing cabinets. Guys, we sit here and we're like, okay, I've got all my filing cabinets all lined up here. This one here, that's my work filing cabinet. You know, when I'm at work, I'm at work. I'm in that drawer. Slam that, I get home, here's the kid filing box, right? And then, you know, here's my hunting box, my fishing box, my baseball box, whatever, you name it. But we have this wonderful little drawer over here, and it's not so little, it's probably one of the biggest one. It's our nothing box. Because guys, let's be honest, we can literally sit there and think about absolutely nothing. It's one of our favorite boxes to be in. Now, women on the other hand, they may have the same filing system all right here, but every single one of those drawers is open and they're in every single one at all times. Nothing gets by them any way, shape, or form. In fact, believe it or not, the majority of archaeologists are women. It's because of their natural ability to dig up the past. It's a true fact. Look it up. But, then you have me, the way I think. It's a little different. I'll have little trigger words to put me in one box or another. Case in point, a friend of mine was talking and they just happened to say the word roadster. In normal course of conversation, roadster. And 3.2 seconds later, I'm going, and they're like, what was that? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, we're just talking. I said the word roadster, and you're giggling to yourself. What's going on there? I'm like, you said roadster, and it triggered me. And suddenly I started thinking through my Rolodex of every single car that I've considered a roadster. Everything from like the early 1900 Mercedes open wheel racing cars where they had the leather cap and the goggles on, right? And all the way up through like Miatas, Honda S2000s, and bam, S2000. Oh yeah, Blaine Hastings, the guy I used to work with, had a Honda S2000. Oh yeah, I remember that one time coming out of work. I got in my Jetta, and Chris Coley happened to have a Mitsubishi Lancer that was all tricked out with the intercooler and 2 turbos and everything else alongside of that. This is in Minnesota. It is freaking freezing out. And I get my car going, my nice little 97 Jetta, and I go to turn on the heat. And right as soon as I turned on the heat, that's when Chris Coley decided to start up his Mitsubishi Lancer. So I hit my heat, and I'm freaking out. out wondering what's going on with my car, thinking my car is absolutely falling apart. And that's what triggered the laugh. That's it. Something so little as somebody saying the word roadster. It's weird how our minds work. Now, I'm a little sick and twisted when it comes to it, and I have a lot of time to think. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's bad. But, like, I'm sure you guys probably heard all the old jokes, like, you know, what do you call a guy with no arms, no legs sitting in front of your door? Matt. A guy with no arms and no legs in the middle of an ocean? Bob. There you go. Guy with no arms, no legs, let's say, hanging on the wall. Art. Right? And here's where my sick and twisted brain steps in. It's like, guy no arms, no legs, lying dead in a crib. Sid. Oh, I know, sick and twisted, I told you. This obviously is not my day job. I actually sell life insurance, believe it or not. Morbid. But I love what I do. I get to meet so many different people and so many different life experiences. We were sitting down. First off, let me talk about Becky. Becky's a woman that I work with that has, I don't want to say no tact, but it's very, very few and far between where you can actually catch her being speechless. This is one of those occasions. We were in a house talking to this woman, and of course, just getting to know her and kind of know her situation and everything on those lines. She's, early 60s, and she had a traumatic brain injury when she was like 24 due to a motorcycle accident. And because of that, she's not quite as bad as 10-second Tom, but she's got very little short-term memory. But she remembers a lot of things that happened through her in her lifetime. She got married, had a couple kids, got divorced, her husband transitioned and became a woman, kids stopped talking to him, and now he's thinking about trying to go back and have another surgery to reverse the first decision. And I couldn't help myself. I just looked at her and was like, well, you know what they say, it's easier to dig a hole than build a pole. The look on Becky's face was absolutely priceless. Just utter shock and amazement that I would actually tell a client that. The client's face, on the other hand, it actually worked to my benefit. She sits there for a second, and then the best laugh you could have ever heard in your entire life. So, that's really all I got for you guys tonight. I greatly appreciate it. You guys have been a great audience. I think Sean's got a few things we're going to be doing here as far as karaoke. Thank you for allowing me to come up and talk to you all tonight. I appreciate it. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did as well. You guys have a great night. Thank you.
All right, let's make some noise for Chris Isle. So I'm going to go ahead and play some music. I think what we're going to do is slowly wind this down. If MBRC wants to start moving stuff around, we'll kick the pool tables back on and dartboards.
My name is Jimmy B, and I'm a surefire, full-blooded, bonafide, hot-fucking jam on production MC. If you want the best, then put me to the test, and I'm sure you'll soon agree that I got no flaws, cause I'm down by law when it comes to rocking viciously, you see, cause of when I was a little baby boy, my mama gave me a brand new toy, 2 turntables with a mic, and I learned to rock like a Dolomite. Time went by on this God creation, I knew someday I would rock the nation, so I made up my mind just what to do, and I joined with the Jam on production crew. So go crazy, don't let your body be lazy. I said don't stop the body rock till your eyesight starts to get hazy. Clean out your ears and you open your eye. If you want to hear the music, just come alive. If you don't know how, get ready to learn, cause Cosmo's taking his turn to burn.
Take the C and O in the C, then you add M-O and the freaking D, add a funky beat, and then what do you see? It's Cosmo D, yeah baby, that's me. I got the beat, that's oh so sweet. Without me rocking, it's incomplete. So rock this yo, rock that yo, rock on and don't you dare stop. You rock this, rock that, and that's a fact. Cause the Jam on crew will rock your body right, rock a steam locomotive right off the track, and the whole wide world of funk attack. To the beat, yo, get down. Let me rock it to the rhythm of the funky sound. From hill to hill, over 12-inch cut called Disco Kryptonite. Well, Superman looked up at me. He said, you rock so naturally. I said, now that you've learned the deal, let me tell you why I'm so for real. I'm Cosmo D from outer space. I can do rock the human race. I do it right because I can't do it wrong. That's why the whole world is singing this song. Jam on it. I jam on it. I say jam on it. As day turns to night and night turns to day, whatever time it is, I want to hear you say jam on it. I jam on it. I say jam on it. Jam all around and upside down. I keep it jamming to the jam on production sound. Jam on it.
Jam on it. I said jam on it. I said jam on is the funky beat that takes control with the short sharp boogie that'll rock your soul.
Jam on it.
Jam on it. I said jam on it. Get out of your seat and jam to the beat and don't you dare stop your early morning.
Jam on it. 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 Jam on it.
Yeah, like, did you see where he went in the corner and he started doing this? Yeah, I think I saw over there with Randy. He was rocking the mic, you know? Beat is fresh, y'all. Yeah, fresh.
posted in the act. Got to hit the club, we've been mobbing all day. Drinking on some rust, dying on patrol. VIP stats, strapped with my chrome. Look around the club, what do I say? Everybody rocking side to side to the beat. Snapping their fingers, bouncing to the groove. All by themselves, that's the new move. Where I'm from, we like to go dumb. I'm soaking up the game, I'm seeing how it's done. I ain't shorty what they call it. She said the pool palace, straight from Bankhead. I said you're good at it. What you do, you and your crew. They even got players and thugs doing it too. The more that I drink, the more it's looking smooth. It's nothing to a boss, I can do the too.
Snap your fingers, do your style. You can do it all by yourself. Let me see you do it. Let me see you do it. Hey, snap your fingers, do your style. You can do it all by yourself. Let me see you do it. Let me see you do it. Hey,
Chillin' in the bill, yeah, we getting crunk. Popping bottles in these getting drunk. Rolling up the kush, put it in the air. I'm throwing up the E's to let them know we in here. Yeah, brand new shoes, brand new tools. Pull out the old school cause I'm feeling real cool. Yeah, I'm from the A, so I'm leaning and rocking. Snapping my fingers, then reaching for my Glock. Reppin' my block, straight from the deck. When you snap your fingers, shout it, gotta jerk your neck. Smoking on the best, we don't f with that mess. I bet you can't do it like this. Yeah, I'm back to the track, back to the snap. 1, 2 step, then you gotta lean back. Yeah, this is how we do it, in the A-time.
and if you ain't know,
This is how it goes down.
hey, snap your fingers, do your style. You can do it all by yourself. Let me see you do it. Let me see you do it. Hey, snap your fingers, do your style. You can do it all by yourself. Let me see you do it. Let me see you do it. Hey, hey. It's a funny thing, death. This desert where I find.
I'm living like my way, a full throttle down the highway, leaving my hours behind me, living like I can die, chasing another sunrise. I'm living like my way, a full throttle down the highway. Today is my last day, nowhere to die alive, right into the sunrise. When the day gets dark and the lights go out, and I'm looking back on everything I lost, trying to figure out what this life's about. Doubt hits hard like a 12 gauge, stuck in the muck of my old ways, just trying to get lost in the moment and forget about the past, because the path is like a damn cage. Be a man that stand when the time right, be you, be true in the limelight. But my thoughts are lost with these shots, so right, I still shot by the view of my hindsight. Walking tall through hell so steady, still living cause hell wasn't ready. Everything in my past so heavy, so you know I stay high like a jacked up Chevy. Cause nothing better than finally letting go, like world is mine and I was born adrift, so right. A little whiskey and an open road, riding through the night, chasing another sunrise. I'm living like my way, a full throttle down the highway, leaving my hours behind me, living like I can die, chasing another sunrise. I'm living like my way, a full throttle down the highway. Today is my last day, nowhere to die alive, right into the sunrise. When the sun goes down and the drinks go round, and I'm thinking back on everything I lost, the view from up top ain't bad looking down. Another day, another state line, I'm doing like the devil trying to take mine, living life one city at a time, just tipping back that moonshine. Cause the pain's so constant, but enough is enough with the nonsense. All the women and the drugs and the violence, weighing like 1,000,001 tons on my conscience. So I put it in a bag of bones, and with the wheel stop rolling out back at home, then stop. Put the pedal to the metal when I wake up in the morning, then I'm gone. Nothing better than finally letting go, like the world is mine and I was born adrift, so right. A little whiskey and an open road, riding through the night, chasing another sunrise.
I want to die alive. I want to die alive. I want to die alive. Put the world to my back and ride. I want to die alive. I want to die alive. I want to die alive. Put the world to my back and ride.
I'm living like my way, a full throttle down the highway, leaving my hours behind me, living like I can die, chasing another sunrise. I'm living like my way, a full throttle down the highway. Today is my last day, nowhere to die alive, right into the sunrise. I'm living like I never died, a cigarette ashes blowing through the night. I put the world to my back and just ride. No regrets, I just wanna die alive. I lean back and just let it go, like everything in the past is old. I put it on my mama, I'm a drifter soul. And these times been through plenty hell before, and I've been there, I've done that, I've done with that. And looking back, now it's nothing but my way and the highway. I'm living like my way, a full throttle down the highway, leaving my hours behind me, living like I can die, chasing another sunrise. I'm living like my way, a full throttle down the highway. Today is my last day.
Hot enough for you out here, old girl? Double or nothing, I knock this in the cross.